Your life in 15 minutes. My name is McAdams. I am an author. I'm also an accounting professor and a certified coach. What do I do? I specialize in personal small business finance and also fitness. I help people reach goals in those areas. And I want to take the time to welcome my viewers for Transform Your Life, this session of Transform Your Life in 15 minutes. This is where we're doing 5-minute exercises, one each on the mind, the body, and the soul. And the premise is, in order for you to reach your goals and to be happy about and to be successful in the way that you define success, you need to work on all of your parts instead of just one. So in other words, generally speaking, we tend to think of ourselves as one person, like we say I or me. So we're generally one person, which we are. However, we are made up of 3 parts. And those 3 parts, of course, are our mind, our body, and our soul. And I want you to note that in those 3 parts, two-thirds of those 3 parts are actually internal. So in other words, we physically see our body, that's the external portion, but both our mind and our soul are internal parts that we don't actually see, but we know that they exist. So the premise of this goal of transforming your life in 15 minutes is that if you want to transform your life and really make those changes, you have to work on all of the parts, not one. I always like to use the analogy of, it's like painting the outside of your house, but the inside is a total disaster area. And guess what? We live on the inside. So what that means, that analogy is that you may do let's say, you work out, you look great on the outside, but inside you're just not a happy person for whatever reason. And when I say you're not a happy person, that doesn't mean 100% of the time, but for a good portion of the time, you're just not happy. You're pretty much just going through life, not really enjoying yourself, or you typically tend to get depressed or anxious or bored really, really easy. And so those are the things, if you want to change the inside, that's what what I'm talking about, is working on the 2/3 of the inside of your body. So that's the purpose of this transformation challenge, is just to tell you and also to show you that it really doesn't take the really big changes. Like a lot of times when we think of change, it's in terms of drastic changes or large or huge changes. And that's not necessarily the case. As a matter of fact, it's really the little small changes, the little baby steps that you take that will get you to your goals faster. And the reason that is because you don't become so overwhelmed. Like it's like, how do you eat an elephant, right? If you think about eating the whole elephant, then that's overwhelming. It's like, I can't do it. That's too much. But if you think in terms of how do you eat an elephant, it's just taking one bite at a time. You're like, oh, well, I can do that. I can just do one bite. Well, the same thing when you're working on the insides and on the outside as well. You just do small baby steps, and those small baby steps will eventually add up. And then after a while, you kind of look back and like, oh my gosh, I've eaten half the elephant. And not only that, you're happy about it. So, and keep in mind, it doesn't mean that the journey is going to be flawless or that there's not going to be mistakes. You're not going to get off your path. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm really saying is enjoy the journey, because otherwise when you get to the destination, you won't be happy. It's almost like you're rushing. You know what it is? Like, think about this. I talked about this yesterday. It's like we're tiptoeing through life to make it safely through death. Like, think about it. You're tiptoeing, living cautiously through life, and then when you get to the death, it's over when you're like, oh my gosh, it's there and it's done, and there's no more. There's no second chance. Well, think about the same thing when you're trying to reach your goals. Okay, so in other words, learn to enjoy the journey and not so much focus on the destination. You'll get there, but enjoy the time that you get there, and then make it that much more enjoyable. All right, so in particularly for the mind, we're reading the book, and for the next 5 days, we're going to be reading out of Psycho-Cybernetics. This is by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, and we've been doing this for a while now. And then for the body portion, we're doing 5 minutes of yoga salutation for the next 5 days, and then of course we'll change. And then for the meditation, for the soul portion, we're doing a 5-minute meditation where we're focusing on our breath and using Ujjayi breathing. And again, that's just for the next 5 days. So if this is your first time joining me, I want to thank you and welcome to everyone. Like those of you that are watching me live, good morning. And then those of you that are watching the recording, and also those the first timers, I always like to thank my viewers, because again, I'm here for you. This transformation, I've been getting a lot of comments offline, not just about what I'm talking about, but a lot of comments on my transformation. And so yes, this is my transformation as well as yours. And generally speaking, I tend to be a private person, so a lot of times that I do things is privately, like my really close friends know, but I don't really share a lot. And so this transformation is a way for me to open up and share what I do. Now, when I say I don't share, I'm talking about personally. Like obviously when I'm helping people, like, some of the things I do is obviously as a college professor, I'm teaching. I'm also a aerobic instructor, so I'm teaching. I'm a certified personal trainer, so I teach. So there's a lot of teaching that I do that's on the outside that people know, my motivation and everything. But I'm talking about like generally me personally, I tend to keep my life private. And that's just because of, if you've been listening for the last 30 some days, why is that? Because of my self-image, or not necessarily my self-image, but the way that I was taught. In other words, the way I was brought up is that certain things you just keep private, and then just, over time it just, it happens. And I have friends that, from the gamut. I have friends that are very private. I also have friends that are really, really open, that how much tell you too much. But again, whatever works for you. And that's another thing that I want to say, that whatever I'm sharing or expressing to you, if it works for you, if what you're doing generally works for you now, then continue doing what you're doing. But if, on the other hand, that you want to make some type of change, then just kind of be open to what I'm saying, okay? So, and as I mentioned before, charge anything that, that's offensive to my mind, not to my heart, because I'm, again, here for you. So in this book, we have been talking about our self-image and our subconscious, and how that plays a dramatic role on our success, and also on how we view success once we get there. So that's the premise of this particular book here. And again, the book, all my previous 30-day challenge has been recorded, so if you haven't seen them, you can just watch it on my fan page, or you can go to my YouTube channel. Good morning, Tiffany. Good to see you. And then also, too, these all will be recorded. So again, I want to make sure that you have access to the whole complete information, particularly because in this book, we are finishing up chapter 7 today, and then we're going to be going on to chapter 8. So if you want to see the previous chapters, you need to watch the recording, because this really is a good book. I highly recommend that you read it, because it gives you tremendous insights on your subconscious mind, okay? And it also tells us, and I've told you as well, that we were programmed, we were designed by our Creator, by God, to be successful. We really were. We were designed to be successful. So if you're not successful, and again, only you can determine what success means, because it's individualized, right? Like, for instance, what I conceive as successful, you may say, okay, I agree with you, but that's not how I define it. Okay, so you conceive success. So individually, we've all been pre-programmed and designed to be successful. So if you're having trouble with that, then you want to get some guidance or some insight into why. Okay, so let's get started from yesterday. So yesterday, I kind of gave you guys an assignment. I actually gave you 2 assignments for those of you that have been watching. And the assignment was, the first one was for you to consciously think of everything that you do. Like, for instance, from waking up, well, obviously you've already woken up that day, but from brushing your teeth to everything, like, consciously think about what you're doing. And the purpose of that assignment was to identify habits, okay? Because, again, we're talking about things that we do on a regular basis, some of them that are good, and then some of them that are not so good. So in order for you to make changes, you first have to identify those habits that are not serving you. So, for instance, I got a lot of feedback, and some of the habits, I had to write them down. Some of the habits that people were telling me was about drinking coffee daily. Somebody even mentioned smoking. I was like, do people smoke nowadays? Like, living in Southern California, it's very rare that we see people smoking, but I guess they still do. So smoking was a habit. One person even mentioned that her whole life was like a habit, and what she explained that pretty much she lives in the, she just gets up and she goes to work, she comes home, she watches TV, and then it kind of like starts all over again. So she's not really happy with that circle. Another one was yelling at kids when stressed. Coming home and watching TV, vegging out in front of TV. Someone mentioned biting nails. There was someone that mentioned having a shopping spree, like every time she got unhappy about something, she would go shopping. And some of these may resonate with you. So again, the purpose of this was to identify things that are not serving you, so then we can make changes on them. Let's see, this will give a couple more. Browsing Facebook throughout the day, like that was a huge one. And by the way, I don't think I mentioned this, but do you know that 2 of the main causes of habits are stress and boredom? So those are the ones that you're really seeing. It's like when people are really stressed and they're really bored, that's when those kind of like bad habits come out. Now, someone actually mentioned good habits. So one person said that she wakes up really early, and then there was another one with daily exercising. And then I mentioned something about yesterday about going to the same class. You want to make changes, and a person wrote into me that she goes to the same class. And so these were some of the habits that people wrote in or expressed to me about. So again, if you have something that you want to change, you first have to identify it. And again, habits are generally something that we do on the inside, like not necessarily inside. It starts on the inside, and then we don't think about it. We just do it. I mean, it starts like, for instance, think about like brushing your teeth. I bet you, if you didn't think about it, I bet you there's a routine that you have when you brush your teeth. You just didn't realize it. Like I recognized mine this morning. Like, okay, so I'm a right-handed, wait, this is my right hand for you guys, right? I'm a right-handed person. So this is seriously, I thought about this morning when I did it. I grabbed my toothbrush with my right hand. I then switched it to my left hand to grab the toothpaste. And then I like held the toothpaste and I untwist the top, and then I put the toothpaste on the toothbrush with my right hand. Then I close the top and I put it back down. Then I put the toothbrush from my left hand back to my right hand. Well, I'm getting confused because this is my right, this is my left, but for you, this is my right, this is my left. But follow along what I'm saying. My toothbrush was in my left hand because I had to put toothpaste on it. And then once I got the toothpaste on it, I switched it to my right hand, and then I start brushing my teeth. Like literally, that's my habit. And I didn't think about it, but it's something I do every single day. So you're saying, well, Pia, what's that have to do with anything? What it has to do with anything is, for one, I'm identifying a habit. Now, that particular habit, think about it. You may say, well, what's the big deal about how you brush your teeth? The big deal is not about me brushing my teeth. The big deal about is me identifying that particular habit. Because although that particular habit may not be detrimental, like it may be neutral as it comes in terms of my success, habits in general are very important to the determination of how I define success or fulfill my successfulness. Okay, so in other words, you have to recognize those habits, and it starts off with just recognizing even the little small habits. Because guess what? If you can't change small habits, how do you expect to change smoking, drinking coffee, watching TV, browsing Facebook? Like those are pretty huge. Those are things that kind of consume your life. So if you can't even start with the little small ones, you're not going to be able to tackle those big ones without there being some type of block. Okay, so that's the purpose of it. All right, and then the second assignment yesterday was for you just to be happy. Like no matter what your circumstances were, what your events were, just to make a decision in your mind that at that point, at the end of the taping, that you were going to be happy. And I got a lot of feedback on that as well, that people were saying that really worked, because again, once you make a decision to do something, and then like I said, you don't really stress about it, but you just make that decision, then it generally is going to happen. So I got a lot of feedback saying that that they were successful. I had a couple people saying that certain circumstances happened, and then they weren't happy, but then they thought about they're supposed to be happy, and so that changed. They had a turnaround. So again, it wasn't automatic, but these are things that you can do on a regular basis. Like again, continue to think about those habits and identify those habits so that you can then make changes, and then always try to be happy at least a good portion of the time. All right, so let's get into the book so we can figure out or find out what we're going to be doing today as far as our mind lesson is concerned. And guess what? It's how to learn the happiness habit. Okay, it says, our self-image and our habits tend to go together. Change one and you will automatically change the other. Okay, that's huge. I got to stop there. That's huge, because if you've been following along with me, you understand about your self-image. And if you haven't, oh my gosh, do I have to review? Okay, I will review just quickly. All right, so let me find my little drawing here. Got to get out my trusty notebook. And I do this over and over again because repetition is the key. When you picture your mind, I want you to picture this drawing. This is a picture of your mind at the top, and this is a picture, of course, of your body. I want you to learn or note that your mind consists of two parts. You have your conscious, which is known as your thinking brain or your thinking mind, not brain, mind. And then, of course, you have the bottom portion, which is your subconscious, which is also known as your emotional mind. Okay, so this is your mind, and then it translates into habits and beliefs. And then it results into your body taking action or getting results or the lack thereof. So in other words, what you think and how you feel will produce the habits that will determine your actions or results or lack thereof. All right. I also mentioned, and this is particularly important, pay attention, Tiffany, because I know you have a little baby, a little son. All right. So this is important. When we are born with just the subconscious mind. So all of this is all open up here. And then it's our parents and our environment that kind of feeds into our subconscious. So in other words, our beliefs about money, about God, about relationships, about the government, about school, about anything. All comes from our parents and what we're exposed to. So in other words, let's say that your money is scarce, and then you're constantly your parents' money are scarce. Okay, so you're in a family, right? So the money in general is scarce, and your parents are constantly saying, "Well, money doesn't grow on trees," or "I can't buy this because I can't afford that." Well, guess what? That plants the seed in your belief system that money is scarce. Now, again, I'm just talking about the negative ones, but obviously there's good positive stuff that are in here as well. Okay, I don't want you to discount the positive one. I'm just talking about the negative ones because those are the ones that really have a detrimental effect on our self-image. Okay, but everything that we're exposed to, we get feed into our subconscious mind, and then we're around 5 or 6, we start to develop our rational thinking, and then by that time we have this whole thing, and in the center section right here is now we have a self-image, and this is the mental picture, what we carry with us for the rest of our lives. Like literally we carry this for the rest of our lives. Now we carry this, but of course we still feed in on it, right? It's not like once we program as a child, that's it. But as you grow up, you're still, you still have those beliefs and those habits, okay? And then you're forming more habits, you're forming more beliefs as you grow up, So again, but your self-image is very important because when you reach your goals, if you don't have that same self-image picture of how you are, let me just give you a concrete example. Let's say that you're an overweight person, and as a small child, you were overweight. So again, let's say your whole family is overweight. So you guys ate a lot, you ate the wrong things. Well, guess what? All that was being programmed in. And so now you have a self-image of a big person. And then fast forward to now you're a grown adult, and you now have decided to take action to do something about it. You're going to lose weight. So you hire a personal trainer, you do all the things that you're going to do. It was hard, but you finagled through it. And you end up losing the weight. Let's say you lost over 100 pounds. Well, guess what? Inside, you still see yourself as a fat person. So although you're getting all these compliments and you see yourself in the mirror, you see with your eyes in the mirror, but you're really looking with your self-image. You don't see yourself as a small person. You don't see yourself as a fit person. You think your eyes are playing tricks on you because internally you still think that you're a big person. Well, guess what? Eventually, you're going to go back to that big person. Once you reach your goal, and again, we've seen this. If you guys remember the TV show years ago, The Biggest Loser, where people would lose all that weight, and we watched their transition or their transformation from week after week, and then we celebrate the winner. And then they always do those shows where they say, well, what happened, later on, where are they now? And guess what? Majority of them always go back to the same weight. It's because they didn't have that self-image of them being a fit person to begin with. They still had that big picture. And when you do that, keep in mind, guys, this is all subconscious, so you're not really doing it. Like I know several people that they will have that gastric bypass surgery to lose a lot of weight, and then they still struggle. It's because, and I'm not making an opinion one way or the other, but it's a shortcut, right? It's a shortcut to losing weight. You're not necessarily doing hard work. And no, I'm not trying to open up a debate because you say, okay, well, I am doing this, I am doing that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, for the most part, you're not doing the work internally. And this is where the work happens. It's inside. It's not on the outside. Keep in mind the house. You're painting the outside of your house, but the inside is a disaster area, and you live on the inside. And guess what? What's on the inside is eventually going to manifest itself on the outside. So although your house, you may have lost the weight and look great on the outside, if you don't feel that way on the inside, then you're going to self-sabotage yourself, because eventually you're going to go back to your same habits, and then you're going to gain that weight again. Same thing with people that come up. Like we hear these stories all the time in the news where people, famous people, particular small kids coming from, disadvantaged background, and then all of a sudden they become millionaires because of like basketball. They get, they go to the NBA, or people that win the lottery, they get a windfall of money, and you're like, oh my gosh, if I won this money, I would do this, that, and the other. Well, first off, we don't know what we would do, because hindsight is 20/20, right? We only can say what we would do. Really, what we would do would be according to our self-image. Okay, seriously. Because if you're wondering why they're able to lose that money, like people that win the lottery, they typically tend to lose it all within a year. Again, it goes back to the self-image. If they didn't grow up with abundance and knowing how to relate with money and how to spend money and how to use money, what makes you think by getting a windfall of it, they're going to know what is automatically going to tell them what to do? It doesn't work that way. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about when we're talking about happiness and self-image. So when I read here, that change, where was it? Where did I read it? I just forgot it. Oh, when I read that our self-image and our habits tend to go together, and that when you change one, you automatically change the other, that's huge. And that's why I kind of had to pause there. Okay, let me move on. Now, the word habit originally meant a garment or clothing. We still speak of writing habits and habiliments. This gives us an insight into the true meaning of habit. Our habits are literally garments worn by our personalities. They are not accidental or happenstance. We have them because they fit us. They are consistent with our self-image and our entire personality pattern. When we consciously and deliberately develop new and better habits, our self-image tends to outgrow the old habits and grow into a new pattern. I can see many patients cringe when I mention changing habitual action patterns or acting out new behavioral patterns until they become automatic. They confuse habit with addiction. An addiction is something you feel compelled to and which causes severe withdrawal symptoms. Treatment of addiction is beyond the scope of this book. Habits, on the other hand, are merely reactions and responses that we have learned to perform automatically without having to think or decide. They are performed by our creative mechanism. Fully 95% of our behavior, feeling, and responses is habitual. The pianist does not decide which keys to strike. And I mentioned that a while ago. Like I was trained as a classical pianist, and I haven't played the piano for a long time. But I guarantee you, if I sit in front of a keyboard and I try to think about the song I'm going to play, it won't happen. But if I just put my hands on the keys and kind of play around with it, eventually it will come back to me because it's a habit somewhere deep in my memory. So I mentioned that last time, or at one point. Okay, now I remember where I am. Give me a second here. Where am I? Right here. The dancer does not decide which foot to move where. The reaction is automatic and unthinking. In much the same way, our attitudes, emotions, and beliefs tend to become habitual. In the past, we learned that certain attitudes, ways of feeling, and thinking were appropriate to certain situations. Now we tend to think, feel, and act the same way whenever we encounter what we interpret as the same sort of situation. What we need to understand is that these habits, unlike addictions, can be modified, changed, or reversed simply by taking the trouble to make a conscious decision, and then by practicing or acting out the new response or behavior. The pianist can consciously decide to strike a different key if he chooses. The dancer can consciously decide to learn a new step, and there is no agony about it. It does not require constant watchfulness and practice until the new behavior pattern is thoroughly learned. Okay, so now we have a practice exercise. Okay, so this is what your assignment for today. Habitually, you put on either your right shoe first or your left shoe. Habitually, you tie your shoes by either pressing the right hand lace behind the left hand lace or vice versa. So tomorrow morning, because today's already started for most of you, tomorrow morning, determine which shoe you will put on first and how you tie your shoes. Now, obviously, if you don't have shoestrings, then just whichever shoe you put on first, right? Like, generally speaking, I put my right foot in and then I put my left foot, okay? Now, consciously decide that for the next 21 days, you're going to form a new habit by putting on the other shoe first and tying your laces in a different way. Each morning, as you decide to put on your shoes in a certain manner, let this simple act serve as a reminder to change other habitual ways of thinking, acting, and feeling throughout the day. Say to yourself as you tie your shoes, I am beginning the day in a new and better way. And then consciously decide that throughout the day that I will be as cheerful as possible. I will try to feel and act a little more friendly toward other people. I'm going to be a little less critical and a little more tolerant of other people, their faults, failings, and mistakes. I will place the best possible interpretations on their actions. Number 4, insofar as possible, I'm going to act as if success are inevitable and I already am the sort of personality I want to be. I will practice acting like and feeling like this new personality. Number 5, I will not let my own opinion color facts in a pessimistic or negative way. Number 6, I will practice smiling at least 3 times during the day. Smile. That's 1. Regardless of what happened, number 7, regardless of what happens, I will react as calmly and as intelligently as possible. Number 8, give me a second. I will ignore completely and close my mind to all those pessimistic and negative facts that I can do nothing to change. Simple, yes, but each of the above habitual ways Each of the above are habitual ways of acting, feeling, thinking, and does have a beneficial and constructive influence on your self-image. So act them out for the 21 days, experience them, and see if worry, guilt, hostility, and other have not been diminished, if confidence has not been increased. All right, so those are the 8 things. And what I'll do for you guys, because I know that was a lot, particularly with everything else, I'll go ahead and list those 8s in the comments. So again, for your assignment for today is to, for this point on, for the next 21 days, actually, it's telling you, so I'll remind you. But what you want to do is you want to change one habit and start off small. Okay, so start off with the shoe if you want, or you can choose whichever one you want to start with, but start off changing one habit and just doing it something totally different. And then as you go throughout your day, those 8 things, I will list them in the comments so that you will have them. Oh, guess what I almost did? I almost forgot my cell phone. Oh, my hair is going crazy. All right. So again, I want to thank you for taking the time to transform your life with me. And also, we're going to be moving on to the yoga and also the meditation. And I forgot to, no one mentioned anything about the yoga yesterday. So yesterday I led you through a guided yoga. And I'll do the same again today, but let me know if you can hear me, because I actually did not listen to the recording, so I couldn't see. But do let me know if you can hear me, because, again, starting in June, I'm doing something totally different. I'm going to be doing a new yoga routine. And if I'm doing a new yoga routine, you're going to have to be able to know what's coming up. So like the 30-day challenge, we did the same sun salutations over again, which was a good way for you to start your day if you have a little bit limited time. But starting on June 1st, I'm going to be doing different routines, so you need to be able to hear me. And I don't want to have to wear a mic because my mic has like a cord and I might get tangled up. So anyway, let me know if you can hear me. And then also, too, we're going to immediately go into the meditation. And then starting June 1, I'm going to be doing guided meditation. So again, you got to be able to hear me. At least with the meditation, if I have to do the mic, I can do that because I have a speaker like right there and I'm not moving. So you'll be able to hear me. I don't think there'll be any problem with you hear me on the guided meditation because I can actually fix that. But with the yoga and I'm moving, that may be a little challenging. So let me know if you can hear me or not, okay? All right, so remember, this is a practice, so practice with me. We're going to just be doing this sun salutation today because I just want to get in the habit of seeing if you can actually hear me with that sun salutation. Plus, if you've already seen it, if you've been doing it with me, you know what's coming up anyway, okay? All right. Stand with your feet hip distance apart, your shoulders are on the back, your head is in natural alignment of your spine, your arms are down by your side. Take a nice deep breath as you inhale. As you exhale, dive your body forward. As you inhale, look up halfway. As you exhale, forward fold, flatten out your palms, step back, right, left into the plank. As you continue exhaling, release your knees, your chest, and your chin. As you inhale, come up to upward facing dog, placing your shoulders down and away from your ears. Curl the toes under, and as you exhale, we're going to go to downward facing dog. We're going to be here for 5 deep breaths. Your fingers and your toes are spread out nice and wide. Your feet are hip distance apart, and your palms, your arms are shoulder distance apart. Your tailbone is facing to the back of your room or your area. Your head is in line with your biceps. And you're pressing your chest toward your thighs and your knees. Now step forward, right, left. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, return back to starting position. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, forward fold, stepping back, left, right. Continue exhaling as you release your knee, chest, or chin. Inhale, look up halfway, upward facing dog. Curl the toes under. under, exhale to downward facing dog. And we hold this for 3 deep breaths. Try to get your heels down to the floor. Your body is an inward facing V. Lift your kneecaps to engage your hamstrings. Now step forward, left, right. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, dive your body forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, step back, right, left into the plank. Continue exhaling, release your knee, chest, or chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. As you inhale, come up to upward facing dog. And as you exhale, curl your toes under and go to downward facing dog. Now step forward, right, left. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, dive the body forward. Look up halfway. Step back, left, right. Release your knee, chest, chin. Curl the toes under, or actually come up to upward facing dog. Now curl the toes under to downward facing dog. Step forward, left, right. Looking up halfway. And then forward fold. Inhale, take it all the way up. Go back. Exhale, forward fold. Look up halfway. Step back, right, left. Release your knee, chest, chin, or you can Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to upward facing dog. Curl the toes under to downward facing dog. Step forward, left, right. Look up halfway. And forward fold. Inhale, take it all the way up. Greet the palms together. And exhale down through the center. Namaste. Okay, so this brings us to the meditation. So once you come into a nice, comfortable seated position, if you're sitting in a chair, then go ahead and take your shoes off so that your feet are grounded to the floor. Your spine is straight. Just go ahead and close your eyes and clear your mind. Again, as thoughts come into your mind, just gently push them aside. And we're going to be focusing on our breath. You're going to be inhaling for a count of 1. You're going to hold for a count of 1. And you're going to exhale for a count of 2. This is inhaling, hold, and exhale. Again, inhale, hold, and exhale. Inhale, hold, and exhale. Continue that breathing breath. and return refreshed and calm. You've done something good for yourself today. All right, thank you for joining me this morning for Transform Your Life in 15 Minutes. You guys have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow. Don't forget your assignment. Talk to you soon. Bye.